Hey folks, your OS reviews. So flagship electronics are great, but they often cost an arm and a leg. So I think it's important to also look at relatively low-cost tech sometimes and put it up as a comparison. Today we're looking at arguably the least expensive pair of Bluetooth headphones on the market. They're called the NIA-X2, and they retail for a surprisingly low sub $14 on Amazon. So at this price, you are getting, again, wireless Bluetooth earphones, and the most surprising thing is that they don't look bad at all. They're made out of fabric, they actually seem quite snazzy, and feature a number of different colors that you can pick from. It also has a few extras, like the ability to actually do voice searches, since it has a built-in microphone. It supports micro SD cards as well, so you can use it as a dedicated MP3 player. It even has a built-in FM radio, so we'll have to see if the audio quality is any good, because it certainly seems like the design doesn't really match the low price. Packaging here, actually pretty good looking, quite colorful. The back features, again, some of the main specs as well as the features. You can even plug in a wire if you don't want to use Bluetooth 4.0 to connect to your phone. The connection range is around roughly 10 meters or 33 feet. The speaker is 40 millimeters and has an independence of 32 ohms, which is, again, very typical for something in this price. So in here we have the headphones themselves, which are actually very small and compact. And underneath we have the charging cable, which uses micro USB, takes about 2 hours to charge. Afterwards, you get roughly 8 to 9 hours of audio playback. And then there's also the operation manual that is printed in English. What you don't get is an auxiliary cable for using it as a wired headset. That is an extra or a bonus that NIA did not include in order to make the costs lower. The design actually really isn't bad. It reminds me of something like the Philips Airwear, which was these fabric headphones from several years ago that I thought was quite attractive because of how lightweight and soft and comfortable they were. They just look comfortable. Like the headband itself, even though it's not memory foam, it's very thickly padded with a soft fabric material that's felt-like. The top here has a soft touch rubber material that's just very grippy and textured, and then the actual cushions themselves are made out of the same very soft kind of material. So considering that these will probably be very lightweight, I expect for these to be, again, quite comfortable for even extended usage. Granted, the arms are probably the weakest part of the design because of how kind of slim and flimsy looking it is, but it actually should still stand up because it's made out of metal. But again, it's definitely the part where it feels maybe the weakest from the design perspective. On the side here, we have the company's logo. There is the microphone for answering phone calls and for voice searches with Google Assistant or Siri. There's also the ability for you to tap on this to activate the microphone or to play, pause music, answer, reject phone calls. The side here gives us what looks like a physical dial to change our music to, again, play and pause it, as well as to skip tracks. This is probably used to access the content that you would want to store on a micro SD card or on your radio. So if you're using it as an FM radio, you can really easily swap between different channels more easily, which is different from the button that is used when you're paired to your phone. So here's the micro USB port for charging. That is the auxiliary input. This is the dedicated power switch. Micro SD card slot is located on the top here, so it's pretty easy to insert in and out. Talking about the music performance next, I was actually fairly impressed with these NIA-X2 headphones. Again, for the price of around $15, they sound much better than I expected. Bass isn't quite as booming as I'd like on larger kind of earphones compared to something like earbuds, but they are still present, and you'll notice that if you're listening to EDM music, it's not going to be really punchy, but it does provide some nice balanced sound if you're watching a film. Again, if you're listening to something like EDM or rock music, you can definitely notice it. Otherwise, mids and highs are also reasonably clean sounding, so it's great if you are listening to vocals, if you're listening to speech with other people talking, and the same thing can be said about the microphone. It actually picks up your voice pretty well for phone calls. It's not noise canceling, so if you're outdoors, it's going to struggle a little bit more, but overall, no real complaints. The best thing about these is indeed they are really comfortable. In my testing so far, I could wear these for about 7 hours on a single go, and I wouldn't notice any stress or strain because the padding is so soft, and that is rare to find on headphones on this price. Additionally, the fact that it is so lightweight definitely helps, and the padding, at least for me, did not accumulate that much heat. So again, it remains comfortable even if you're wearing it indoors or in a relatively warm environment. So that works pretty well. When you are using this as an MP3 MP3 player with the micro SD card. It also does a good job. Audio quality using that particular mode, in addition to using it as a wired headphone, actually is slightly better than using it completely wireless. Wireless is fine. There is a slight audio latency. There's also a slight amount of distortion if you turn the volume all the way up, or if you pause the music, you can hear for a brief split second kind of a hiss, and then it goes away. So it's not going to be quite audiophile grade as the most expensive, Bluetooth headsets, which sound crystal clear, but it works. If you're using it as a wired headphone or using it as an MP3 player, that part goes away. So it does sound a bit more clean sounding if you want the best audio performance. But when it comes to the FM radio, it's not a feature that I extensively tested, but out here in San Francisco, reception seems to be actually pretty good. Despite not having an obvious kind of antenna protrusion, it's probably integrated in here, so I would assume that the signal wasn't going to be that great, but it actually received quite a number of clean sounding channels. Obviously, radio channels are never going to be quite as clean sounding as music you've stored in your own catalog, but it's a nice little feature anyways if you are bored or if you're trying to explore music, listen to the news when traveling. So it's actually a pretty cool feature. The reception seems a little bit weaker when I tested it inside a car, but if I was outdoors walking around, it seemed to do actually quite well. So again, the best thing about these headphones probably would be the comfort, the ultra portability, and the fact that they look a lot more premium than the price would suggest. They have also more features, including FM radio support, auxiliary input support, than even many more expensive Bluetooth headsets. So for 15 bucks, you really can't go wrong here. They might be my favorite budget Bluetooth headsets at the moment, just because of that. You can also get this in a wide array of colors, which can range from lime green to cyan blue, so it's really quite colorful and attractive as well. Thanks for watching this video here at OS Reviews. This has been a closer look at the NIA-X2 Fabric wireless Bluetooth headphones.